Intraagial mating and dating and coupling is bad for you. The reason it's bad for you is because it causes telomere attrition. When two human beings are under the age of 35, what they have is a rising level of a chemical known as telomerase. And this chemical keeps the body young. It also keeps the body and the brain immature. The same process of milk becoming cheese is the same process as the human body becoming older. And when you make cheese, you have to have a brine bath or even whey from the milk itself to cover the cheese in order to make a lot of cheeses. And I'm not just saying because it makes sense for young women to date older men. I'm saying that because that is the diploid pattern. You look at all life that has two genders, two chromosome sets, XX and XY. And the XX is, of course, women. They've got more chromosome space, which the whole thing about women being the weaker sex is stupid because they have more chromosome space. That actually makes them stronger. You look at the female brain, and it's smaller and wrinklier, which means it's got more processing power in a smaller body and brain than the male brain does, because the chromosome space of the female is XX and covers more space than 12.5% more than male, which is XY, which means that technically speaking, females are a stronger species. So any accusations that I'm a sexist is the accusations that I don't know science. Fuck you. You look at all life, older sturgeon, older fish, older primates, silverbacks, lions, it's always older male to younger female in the heterosexual pattern. You look at all fruit trees, the seeds have to come from a rotting fruit to go in the ground for there to be a sapling, and then the young pollen pollinates. For apple trees, the apple rots, the seeds go into the ground, a sapling comes up, and the bees transfer pollen from the female part of the plant, which is the flower, to the sapling, which comes from the seed, which is the male part of the plant. Younger female, older male is the pattern. And you could look at that and you say, well, yeah, I guess we shouldn't breed because we're just going to have intraagial. That's like trying to justify incest. Excuse you, you're retarded. I don't mean to say that. You're attrited. I mean, if you're trying to justify incest, you're a moron. If you're trying to justify intraagial mating and sex and dating, you're a moron. Because we know that inbreeding was bad for the royalty. It collapsed the Holy Roman Empire in the 1550s after, hundreds of years of this. They created things like incest depression and the Habsburg jaw. Intrafamilial is not the preferred pattern of anything with two genders, and neither is intraagial. We are a case-selective species. You can call me a creep all you want, but you're not a fucking liberal, because at the same time, if you call black people niggers, and you call gay people faggots, and you call women bitches, you're still a bigot. I don't care. I've had a lot of conversations with fellow liberals that are younger women that like older men, and I've had plenty of them that are conservatives, and I've had conversations with women that like older men, and I've had ones that don't, and the ones that don't are always bigots. They're always like, ew, you're creepy for even trying. Date your own age. Sister, why don't you date your own race then? Some of them do. I mean, they're liberal, they're white, they're elitists, they're 18, but they only date 18-year-olds because that's their preferred pattern. That's like saying the preferred pattern is brother, sister, or father or daughter from the intrafamilial inbreeding and incest shit. No, you need to quit. We need to raise the age of consent of males to 35 because it creates stronger DNA. We know this from studies from Northwestern University since 2012, that older fathers create stronger DNA. This is confirmed by the Pacific. I always say that. The proceedings, I'm Generation X. I'm a little tried. My dad wouldn't be screwing this up. the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the National Institutes of Health, the New England Journal of Childhood Psychiatry, all confirms that older fathers give kids stronger DNA. Even if you don't want to have kids, you really shouldn't be dating within your own age group anyway, because it also causes telomere attrition, because the telomerase abundance, which is being talked about heavily in the medical community, is when two people are under 35, you get like this bandwagoning shit, where it's like all the millennials, people born from 1980 to 2000, all together. Right now, it's the party scene is the 1990s people, the people that are like between 16 and 26. The most fertile women, which are legal aged, are all together with the most unfertile men. And all this telomerase, the chemical that keeps you young, actually builds up into cancerous levels. We know that telomerase overabundance, I can show you article after article about this. If you're calling me names on this, you are just stupid, because we know that too much telomerase causes cancer, causes anger, stress, depression, weakens the immune system. We have had more medical problems over the past century than over the past 500 years, because these things have risen up. The bandwagoning of millennials, we all love millennials, but they only really glom together. And it's really bogus when they don't date me, because they're like, oh, you're repulsive. Sister, I put that information out there. If you're going to take to other guys other than me, and you like older men, and I have this information out there, excuse you, but you're the repulsive one, okay? Capitalist pig or something? I don't get it. I mean, I could be as nice as possible, and they're still calling me repulsive. They're still calling me a creep. One, that's bigoted. Shut your bigot mouth. Two, yeah, I'm a little bit angry because you go to other guys other than me. That's mean. I've met plenty of women that like me, that are younger, that I like. And, you know, it's been like a work environment where I've been volunteering. I didn't know. I could have like kissed him or even gone to the bathroom with him, you know what I'm saying? Or even gone out with him. But, you know, for me, it wasn't the situation to do that. I wanted to keep things polite. But I probably should have like went outside my comfort zone a little bit, because I asked one, would she be willing to change? And her boyfriend was like 21, she was 21, 37. And she was like, yeah, and I could have been kissing on her right there and there. I'm a suave motherfucker. I could have done it right there, but, you know, there's always the friends pulling the other friends away because they're a bunch of bigots and they're ageist. And, you know, I got in trouble at Starbucks. I hit on a girl. Big deal, right? You have to be 16 to work at Starbucks, and 16 is the age of consent in Washington State. So I knew that she was a legal age. She was flirting with me, and I wrote her a note because I didn't want to interrupt her work schedule. So I wrote, did you know, blah, 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 men over 35 give your kids stronger DNA and telomerase overabundance from hanging out with people when you're under 35, when you're over 35, so you should probably date older men. And she didn't call me a creep, but the barista did. And I promise you, I have a recording of this douchebag threatening to rape a female 17-year-old friend of mine that lives in another part of the country. I could show it to you, even if it's not him. He does mention West Main Starbucks in Spokane. It seems to me that this is real and legit. That he really did this. I mean, I've had trust issues, but I've talked to the news. I was on the news. My face wasn't seen. Crim 2 did a story, and it went to Northwest Cable News, talking about how ageism at Starbucks, how they didn't want me hitting on a younger girl because I'm older. You just go to my website, it explains the diploid pattern. If that creeps you out, I'm sorry, but even if you're a liberal or a socialist and you call me a creep knowing this information, even if you don't, you're a fucking bigot and you need to stop. I don't want liberals to remind me of Donald Trump, okay, and the racist assholes and the sexist pigs that support him. If you're going to show a bunch of like dick pics of me, you know, there are meme generators out there. You got to watch out. People can change things around to make it look like you. People were showing me faces of guys that look like me, or they could easily just take his picture and put a dick on it. A girl sent me a thing where it's like I wanted a high five pic. to verify she was real, and it was a high five, and you saw that there was a halo around the hand, and that got called out by a friend of mine in Florida as being fake. People can fake text from Facebook and say that you said something when you didn't. So you really gotta know that if it is a JPEG of something, it didn't happen. And if there's a video of evidence of things actually happening, I'm not a pedophile. I would never rape a child. I would never hurt a child. You see my behavior around kids, and it's mostly avoidance because I'm respectful of their parents and their kids. If somebody's like 18 and I see him like going with guys that are gray haired, I kind of like look at that and I think, yeah, great. All that loves me doesn't love me. I was at the UGM and I was banging my head against the wall. It's like everything that I love hates me. And I was in tears. I was bawling. My lips were quivering. And he said I had to calm down and find God. I'm an atheist, so I brought that up. I'm an atheist. I can't do it. And he's like, well, follow your heart. And so I said, okay, I can relate to that. I don't like going to church. As you can see, I now have an apartment. I'm no longer homeless. I need to get some sheets for the bed. It's a temporary apartment. I'm not going to tell you where it's at because you assholes have been harassing me for long enough. I just got caught a creep by somebody yelling from the car, and I quickly called back. He probably was a liberal. And I called back, you're a bigot and you remind me of Trump. Go suck his dick. Because if you're going to call me a creep, I'm going to call you a bigot. And I'm going to shut down the conversation. Do not open that term with me. It's why so many black people say faggot, because they're so sick and tired of being called a nigger. I understand. I don't understand bigotry for exchange of bigotry. But if you're going to call me a creep, I'm going to call you a bigot and shut it down. You have no proof that I'm a pedophile. Suck my dick. Also, with the Starbucks situation, it seems to me that I have a lawyer that is interested in this case, and it could be possibly a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Starbucks where he would get a little of the money and I could end up a millionaire. Why take them to court unless there could be a settlement? Why would a lawyer contact me? For me, personally, I'd be happy to just have the ban revoked so I can go back and eat my drink my hot chocolate and be on the Wi-Fi early in the mornings before the library opens because they have free Wi-Fi. But if a lawyer's contacting me and he wants a lawsuit, I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to milk you for all you've got. Your balls are smashed, dude. You don't threaten to rape my friends, okay? You don't kick somebody out, you fucking bigot. You're going to go to prison, or Starbucks is going to owe me millions of fucking dollars. Fuck you. But let's put this on the back burner. Realize I'm a human being. I'm a man, and I have explained something to you. As far as a lot of people are concerned, I'm a saint. And if you are going to call me a creep, I'm going to call you a capitalist, an oligarch, and a bigot. I did nothing illegal. You need to screw off. Look on my website. It explains the diploid pattern. It says that millennials are much more trited, which means that they have much more mental illness than we do. Medical conditions in this country have risen to 1/3. That shows something. The paternal aging effect from 1912 to 2012 has to be acknowledged as something that has corrupted our DNA. This was disproved in 2012 from Northwestern University. The older fathers corrupt DNA. It's the exact opposite, like the earth revolving around the sun. Aristotle had us fooled for 4,000 years past his own death. The sun revolved around the earth. Then Copernicus came along in the 1400s, corrected him. So we're familiar with myths. There was a myth against marijuana from 1936 to 1997. We're familiar with myths. There's a myth that black people were stupid. There's a myth that women are the weaker sex, which was disproved in 2013 as far as I'm concerned. It only makes sense. They cover more chromosome space. Women are better than men. The myth that giving tax breaks to the rich would be bad for us has been disproven 6 times in 200 years. I cover this on my website. Whenever you give a tax break to the rich, you cause a financial collapse. And this has happened 6 times in the past 200 years. Americans and citizens of Earth, we are familiar with myth. We are familiar that we have been wrong about things. Alcohol prohibition. Interracial marriage being bad for the children when it creates stronger DNA. Older mothers being okay to have kids when that creates bad DNA. Older fathers being bad for DNA when it's the exact opposite. We do not need intraagial mating, coupling, or dating at all, because you see the conflict. Why, when you go on a dating site and there are these 18 to 25-year-olds constantly dating new men? The guys are all for the MILFs and the cougars. Older women culture with women is fine with younger men, but older men have been cut out by younger women, especially on the dating sites. But you're seeing younger women interested in older men in Spokane. They're going around and approaching older men, and it's really messed up to me that I'm the repulsive one when they're going to older guys. I'm sorry, but you stole the research that I put out there in order to get a younger girlfriend. You owe me. Your youth entitlement needs to shut down, too. The millennials that only date millennials that say, I'm not entitled to have a girlfriend, fuck you. You're not entitled to say that I can't have a girlfriend. You're not entitled to say I can't date younger women. That is a diploid pattern. That is the pattern that has worked for my parents. That is a pattern that works for all 8 of my ex-girlfriends. That is a pattern that works for all animals of dual genders. That is a pattern that works best for dual genders of all plants. Telomerase equilibrium creates the happiest, strongest bond. Call me a creep, and I call you a bigot, and I burn your fucking swastika down. I don't care if you're a liberal as I am. Open up creep with me, and I'm gonna open up bigot. Shut up. Why am I angry? Because you're a bitch. Oh, I can't use sexist language? You've never listened to hip-hop, I guess, because you're white and you only listen to white people music. You call me a sexist and you hate that I point out, I say that I like pussy or young women or I love bitches. If I say that in my knee-jerk reaction, or I have nothing wrong with faggots or niggers or something like that. Of course, we shouldn't use these terms in an adult context, but sometimes you have a knee-jerk reaction in stressful situations, and I'm sorry if I've ever offended anybody by using the terms bitch, nigger, or faggot. But what I'm saying is I have no problems with diversity. I do have a problem with inbreeding. Not the inbreeds. I do have a problem with meth use, and crystal meth is bad, okay? Alcoholism is bad. I do have a problem with abuse of drugs. I don't have a problem with the people. I have a problem with the behaviors. It's like I have a problem with religion, but I have friends that are religious. You have to see a delineation here. I don't have a problem with retards. I have a problem with things that we do that cause retardation, like older mothers, younger fathers, inbreeding. Retard is a term. Okay, autism. I don't have a problem with the autistic. I don't have a problem with schizophrenics. I do have a problem going with things that cause these problems. That's what I mean. So I think you could say, I don't have a problem with niggers. What I have a problem with is when people burn a cross on a nigger's lawn. That's what I have a problem with. Niggers, fine with the niggers. But I have a big problem if you kick a faggot in the face. That's all I'm saying. Sure, they're bigoted terms. So is shit and fucking damn are bad terms to use as well. But in an adult context, of course, it does make sense. I don't walk around saying nigga to the chicks that say nigga to me. I ignore them. I really do want a more sophisticated relationship where we don't even have to open up these terms. I'm an atheist, but I would prefer kind of a Christian relationship where it's like, I guess you could say I'm an atheist Christian. Jesus morally, as a story, enlightens my heart. I don't believe it actually happened, but a story about a good guy doing good, I can get behind that. So yeah, I mean, I haven't had a girlfriend in 5 years. I have 8 ex-girlfriends. They're born between 1961 and 1979. I'm 37 years old. All the studies show that men between 35 and 55 create stronger DNA in children, and the strongest possible DNA in children would be women between the ages of 16 and 26, which is legal in Washington State. Get off my case, you bigot asshole. If you call me a creep, I'm going to introduce you to my lawyer, which I now have. So younger women with older men create the strongest child. At the same time, intraagial is gross. Okay, when you know the biology is disgusting. Even if there's no kids involved, we do not, as Kurt Cobain once said, we could build a house, we could build a tree, we don't even have to breed. I like that. We could build a house, we could build a tree, we don't have to breed, we could do all three. We should date. We should go out and actually have a conversation over dinner. I've had a girlfriend in 5 years. I pointed out a lot of information. You're going to open up creep with me. I'm going to say K-selective diploid pattern. You're a bigot and a liberal. Screw you. You make me sad. When you come off like the alt-right saying things like nigger, faggot, and bitch, and creep, and you mean it in a bad context, in a hateful context, you're no different than the conservatives you hate. The intergenerational pattern is the pattern of all diploid life that creates the happiest bond because of telomerase equilibrium. If you're going to call me a creep for that, again, I have a lawyer. Shut your bigot mouth. If you want to hook up to just have sex, I guess I'm okay with having sex. In 5 years, I'd probably be pretty nervous. Never had sex with a younger female. Personally, me, I would rather go out to eat and having an adult conversation. It doesn't matter what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what you want to talk about. I've lost 175 pounds. I pointed this out. I don't feel entitled. I think youth entitlement stands in the goddamn way of the diploid pattern. Shut your bigot mouth. You're probably a racist too, because you probably never listen to rap. I'm not here to argue with you. If you have to argue with me or call me a pedophile, yeah, you know, I've seen the pictures of text of things that have been said that perhaps I didn't say. I don't owe you shit for answering your questions. I'm not going to do it. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about your interests. I'm not interested in my interests. If you want to talk to me about my interests, that's fine, but I'd rather talk about your interests. I'm a guy, and I'd rather listen. I'm an older guy. I've grown up a little. I'm clearly not ugly. I've lost weight. My hair looks good. You know, I'm wearing better clothes. Any argument or hate at me, I don't really feel obligated to talk to you. I'll just block you on Gmail. I have so many people blocked on Facebook and Gmail, it's not even funny. You criticize me. You hate on me. We're done. We're not going to be friends at all. We're done. Don't hate and criticize me. I'm fine with answering questions, but I really built my website in order to meet women under the age of 26 that are attractive physically, kind, and intelligent. I really don't need to talk to you unless you are an attractive, physically attractive. You can wear braces or glasses. It's still cute. Be chubby. It doesn't matter. I mean, there are a lot of things that are physically attractive to me. Intelligence and kindness goes a long way. You may as well try your shot. Don't open up the word creep with me or I'm going to shut you down. This is real. This is not a lie. This is the human pattern because this is the tip of the iceberg of all diploid existence. I hate it when you go with other guys. It makes me jealous as hell. I hate it when millennials only get with millennials. I hate it when people in the 1990s only get with people in the 1990s. You're disgusting once you know about all this shit. So again, unless you are a female under the age of 26 and want to go out with me in Spokane, you could be as young as 16 according to Washington state law. Shut up, bigot. I have the law on my side. I have a lawyer on this. I'll show you the link right now that says 16 is legal. 16 and 26, fertile range. We don't have to have kids. I'm not interested in talking about my interests, okay? I'm not interested in arguing. I'm not interested in just like fucking around and arguing and talking about my interests and being criticized. You don't criticize me, I'm not going to criticize you. If you criticize me, I'm going to criticize you, and I'm going to block you. My website is Conversation Our Age. That's conversationrage.weebly.com. My name is Lucas Werner. I am not here to be criticized, hated, or blocked off by any of you bigots. And it really is telling when all the people that have argued with me recently are under 35 and born in the 1990s. Shut your bigot mouth. And have a nice day. I'm open when you want to go out with me. Look, I have an apartment now. Isn't that cool? I'm no longer homeless. I'm not interested in arguing with a bunch of corporatist oligarch pigs and having the conversation to where I'm a sexist or a racist when you're an ageist and a racist. We really shouldn't use these terms in adult context. Sorry I did, but it is to point out how these terms can actually hurt people. Watch your mouth. My website is Conversation Rage, Conversation Our Age, whatever you want to call it. I call it Conversation Our Age. ConversationRage.weebly.com.